The summer transfer window is heating up, and I'm going to be grading every single team's transfer business so far. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and let me know what transfers you want your team to make before the window closes. Yes, I'm sitting on a mini fridge. Yes, there's jerseys around me. Of course there's jerseys around me. But with that being said, let's get to the grades. Starting off with Arsenal, got my Arsenal jersey over here. I would give Arsenal a B+ so far. I really like the Zubimendi signing. I think Norgard is also a really good bargain deal. Kepa is a bit odd, but to be honest, he's a pretty decent backup option. And they got rid of some guys like Jorginho and Tomiyasu who were past it. So I have to say, pretty good business from Arsenal so far. For Aston Villa, I would give them a C. They signed a couple of young players, including Redmond from Feyenoord, who I think could be something, but there's just not a lot of proof there. So for now, it's just a C. They need to replace Robin Olsen. They need a backup goalie. And there's a couple other positions that they could upgrade. So for now, it's a C. So for Bournemouth, I decided to give them a C. I think the Adrien Truffert signing is a pretty good signing. He's nowhere near the level of Kerkez, who they lost to Liverpool, but he's a pretty decent replacement. I think they need to go out there and find a replacement for Dean Huijsen. They also need to hang on to some of their talent that they haven't lost yet. For Brentford, I'm going to go with a B-. It would be a B+ or even an A if they held on to Norgard. Losing your club captain always hurts, so that's a big loss. But I do think Tony Malambo from Feyenoord is a good signing. I also like bringing in Queeman Kelleher from Liverpool to be the new number one. I think he deserves an opportunity, and he's going to get it at Brentford. Next up is Brighton. Got my Brighton shirt right here. I'm giving them an A-. It could be an A or an A+ if they find a decent replacement for João Pedro, but I really like Charalampos Kostas, the Greek guy they signed. I think that's how you say his name. I think he's going to be a star. Also, I like the defensive signings they made. De Kuyper, Pascali, Coppola. I think Brighton really made some nice moves this summer. Burnley, I'm going with a B-. They made some decent deals. I like Lung Chao now from Lazio. I like them signing Marcus Edwards to a permanent deal. But a lot of the signings and a lot of the players they brought in, if they're not championship standard, they're at least not survival in the Premier League standard. I think Burnley are going to struggle a lot, especially if they decide to play the way they played the last time they were in the Prem. These players are not necessarily going to help them do that, but they might be fun to watch. For Chelsea, got my Chelsea shirt right over here. I'm giving Chelsea an A+. I talked about this in one of the shorts that I made maybe about a week ago, that I think Chelsea have won the transfer window so far. I think they've made excellent signings. First and foremost, Jamie Gittins, but also João Pedro, Liam Delap as well, the Brazilian guy from Palmeiras, Esteval, I think, and a couple of other pretty good guys they've brought in who could be something. So Chelsea have definitely won the transfer window so far, in my opinion. Crystal Palace, I'm giving them a B+. They've made some decent little signings like Borna Sosa. Walker Benitez is a great backup goalie, but they're not world-beating signings, and there hasn't been that much going on. They've released a couple players. It's been a quiet summer for Palace, but honestly, it's been pretty good. I'm giving Everton a solid A. Not an A-, not an A+, an A. Very good. I like Tierno Berry a lot. I think he's an excellent signing. He's a huge upgrade over Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who they let go. So big deal right there. Also, getting Alcaraz, not the tennis guy, the other Alcaraz, on a permanent deal is a big deal for them as well. For Fulham, it's an F. Why? Because they have done literally nothing. Not a single signing. Nothing of note. I feel like someone's got to go poke Fulham with a stick. We're almost in August and they haven't made a single move. For Leeds, I'm giving them a B. They've made some solid signings. I like Jacob Bijol. I like Gudmundsson from Lille. They've made a couple of good deals. Lucas Mecha, on the other hand, sounds good on paper, but he really has not been healthy recently. He's probably just going to end up in the treatment room for most of the season. But overall, pretty decent signings for Leeds. Liverpool, obviously, dealing with a lot of bigger issues in the transfer market this summer, but focusing solely on transfers, it's an A+. Frimpong, Kerkez, Wirtz, Mamardashvili, just excellent business from Liverpool, and I hope that they do well this season. Now, my boys, the boys in blue, Manchester City, I'm also giving them an A+. Am I a little biased? Yes. But also, Cherki, Reinders, Aït-Nouri. 3 massive signings. Also, letting Kyle Walker go, letting De Bruyne go. 2 club legends, but our problem last season was we were old. We've gotten a lot younger with these signings, so I'm very, very happy. For United, I'm giving them a B-. My bias wants to give them lower, but I'm going to be respectful. I do think Cunha is a decent signing. We'll have to wait and see. If they get Brian and Mbemo, that's definitely going to go up. But that's been going on for so long, who knows what's going to happen at this point. For Newcastle, I'm going to give them an A-. They've really only signed one big player, Anthony Elanga, but I think it's a very good signing. I just don't think I could give a team an A or an A+ based off one deal, but Elanga is a great deal. Nottingham Forest, the team that sold Elanga to Newcastle, I'm giving them a D. They have lost Elanga. They probably will lose Gibbs White. That's a whole thing. But the signings that they've made, 2 guys coming in from Botafogo, very, very unproven, very, very risky signings. Could they come good? Maybe, but most likely not. They'll both be back in Brazil within a year or two. Sunderland, I'm giving them a C. They get an A for effort, though, because they have been signing a lot of players. The problem is they're signing super young, super inexperienced players. If you're a newly promoted club, one of the things you want is experience. It's like Burnley signing Kyle Walker. That's a good deal. The only player they've signed with Prem experience is Simon Adingra from Brighton, who I think is a good deal, but he's still young, and they're just a very young team overall. Could they still perform well? Maybe, but I think all these signings combined with inexperience is going to spell for a pretty bad season for them. Tottenham, I'm giving them an A-. If they end up getting Gibbs White, that would definitely be an A+, because they already got Mohamed Kudus, and that's the reason they have an A-. He's an incredible signing. I think Thomas Frank is going to turn him into a little Brian and Mbemo type player. I think we're going to see Kudus explode at Tottenham. West Ham are getting a C. They released several players who were kind of just weighing down the wage bill, not really doing too much, guys like Ings, Cresswell, Zuma. So I like that, but they did lose Mohamed Kudus, and that is a huge loss. They now have to go out and try and replace him. If they get a good replacement, obviously their grade's going to go up. But for now, it's a C. For Wolves, I'm giving them a D, because they've done nothing. I mean, they've done more than Fulham, because they got Strand Larson on a permanent deal, and I do like that signing. But other than that, nothing much for Wolves. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below. Did I get these grades right? Did I get them wrong? What would you grade your team? What do you want your team to do before the end of the transfer window? With that being said, make sure you smash the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1K by the end of the year. It's a long road, but we're going to get there. I believe it. I will see you guys very soon with more content. See ya! If I'm out of breath, it's because I've had to jump up and down off this fridge about 20 times. See ya!